great British explorer George Mallory was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there.
Think back to the first time you saw a giraffe. There's a very good chance that you saw this gentle giant and iconic creature when you were just a young child. Giraffes are unique animals, unlike no other on this planet. As Joanna Lumley put it, giraffes are fairy tale animals, almost heraldic, as if from the land of fables. They are the tallest land mammals, growing up to 20 feet, which allows them to reach the highest trees in the Serengeti. And for that extra stretch to the juicy leaves on top, their 1.5-foot long tongues can do the trick. And just like every human has unique fingerprints, no two giraffes have the same pattern on their coat. They are amazing animals, and these fascinating attributes not only make them iconic to the landscape of Africa, but to our childhood. These unicorns of the natural world invoke our imagination and spark playfulness. They just make you smile from ear to ear. You can probably think of many children's books and movies that have a leading giraffe character. Toys R Us captivated children for 50 years with their brand ambassador, Geoffrey the Giraffe, who became an icon to people around the world as a symbol for childhood. You may have fallen in love with Sophie la Giraffe, a teething toy for children that has a sensational following. When Sophie la Giraffe made her debut to the United States right here in California, she became known as a toy to the stars, then quickly rose to become Amazon's #1 best-selling item for children, and currently sells more than 500,000 of these tiny giraffes in the United States alone every year. So if we all have such a universal love of giraffes and start to appreciate these animals starting in our early childhood, would you be surprised to hear that there is less than 100,000 giraffes remaining in the wild? That's 5 times less than the number of Sophie la giraffes just sold every year in the United States. Nubian giraffes, one of the 9 giraffe subspecies, have only 650 of their kin remaining in the wild, making them one of the most endangered species on the planet. If you're feeling surprised, you are not alone. This rapid extinction of one of the world's most beloved animals is a silent one. Recent studies have shown startling statistics that the giraffe population has decreased about 40% over the last 30 years. The species is most gravely imperiled by habitat loss caused by civil unrest to human development, which has restricted these animals to very isolated regions of Africa. Next to habitat loss, poaching and trophy hunting is the other leading cause of giraffe extinction. While some African countries nominally protect the species, there isn't always sufficient enforcement of local laws. The international trade in giraffe parts and products further spurs poaching, as well as legal sport hunting. As rapidly as these animals are going extinct, they're also becoming a popular demand as the coveted new exotic in international marketplaces. Unfortunately, the market demand for giraffes may have inadvertently increased by the recent bans on the importation of elephant ivory. Through data available from the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, it is clear that the United States is one of the leading contributors to the cause of giraffe extinction. Over the past decade, our country has imported more than 40,000 giraffe parts, ranging from hunting trophies to skins for fashion and home decor items like pillows or rugs, and thousands of bone carvings used as trinkets or knife and firearm handles. And these figures are conservative, but at a bare minimum, this translates to 4,000 giraffes. That is more than a dead giraffe a day entering our country's borders. And yet still, the awareness of the peril of these animals is still largely unknown. We at the Humane Society of the United States and our affiliate, Humane Society International, decided to conduct an undercover investigation in an effort to fully expose the disturbing hunting and trade of giraffes. Take a look.
They are real giraffes?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it just this part, or is it?
No, yeah, it's just right here and then back here.
Those are 180. They're such unique animals.
Yeah,
And those are the giraffe bracelets from the tail.
Giraffe body parts have been turned into commercial products, being sold to the general public. And it's all perfectly, horrendously legal.
Do you do a lot of work with giraffe?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's being called the silent extinction.
It's shocking, isn't it? Through the investigation, we found over 50 retailers selling giraffe products online and across the United States, including right here in California. What may be even more surprising to you is that giraffes are not listed under any capacity in the Endangered Species Act. Yet clearly there's this unregulated market in the United States despite the steep population decline. Furthermore, we do not really know the true scale of the global trade in giraffes. Unlike some endangered species, giraffes do not afford much international protection. As of now, they're not even listed on the appendices of CITES, an important global agreement across governments that ensures that the international trade in wild plants and animals does not threaten their survival. However, considering the volume and the trade of other iconic African wildlife species, such as leopards or lions, that we do have data on, we can only imagine that the global trade of giraffes is many times higher than the US market demand. Giraffes do not deserve to be an outlier in receiving these protections, and the United States must take action given our involvement in the devastation to this species. So in April of 2017, the Humane Society of the United States joined forces with other animal protection organizations to petition the United States Fish and Wildlife Service to list the giraffe in the Endangered Species Act. A listing under this legislation not only helps to track and curb the imports of giraffe, but it increases funding for conservation efforts in Africa. Legally, the agency was supposed to respond within 90 days. 19 months have now passed without any action taken. We know that time isn't something that giraffes have on their side, so we've now entered into a federal lawsuit with the agency so the courts can intervene and try to require the government to at least consider listing the giraffe as endangered and enact the life-saving protections that their species needs for the future of their survival. The need for protection of giraffes is becoming so dire. Each of us can be an advocate for this animal, no matter your age. In fact, the youth can have a remarkable impact in saving a species, any species. We witnessed this firsthand in a case study to curb the sale of rhinoceros horn in Vietnam. We discovered it was often local mothers buying rhino horn for alleged medical purposes for their family. So we creatively devised a plan to make the youth the ambassador for the rhinos, educating them through children's literature so they could then educate their families and communities about the severity of rhino extinction. In just 3 years from our latest polling conducted in 2016, we discovered a 45% reduction in the demand for rhino horn. And throughout the entirety of the campaign, we've reached over 36 million people in Vietnam on such an important issue. It is my honor and a dream job come true to be an ambassador for all animals, and I encourage each of you to join me in this effort. Think about how much you've cherished giraffes in your lifetime, and please write the United States Fish and Wildlife Service to help advocate for the listing that the giraffes deserve in the Endangered Species Act. You can also participate in ecotourism, not trophy hunting. Not only does this benefit giraffes, but the entire habitat that they call home. Studies show that elephants are worth approximately 76 times more alive than dead. Wildlife watching, including the viewing of giraffes in their natural habitat, generates hundreds of millions of dollars for African countries and further leads to the protection of all animals. It is our duty as stewards of this planet to help circulate this information and educate our friends and neighbors on the severity of all endangered animals. Please, do not allow us to let giraffes go extinct silently. If we do not stand tall in protecting the species, then they will only exist in our fables and childhood memories. Thank you.